Archers, would you pray with me with these words from the Celtic Christian Saint Bridget, whose feast day was just this past week. O loving day star, we would like the angels of heaven to be among us. We would like an abundance of peace. We would like full vessels of charity. We would like rich treasures of mercy. We would like cheerfulness to preside over all. We would like Jesus to be present. Amen. Thank you, Saint Bridget, of the poor and of the preservation of art. This morning, friends, we return to the mountainside. Gentle, refreshing breeze is blowing down these Galilean slopes. And once again, we join Jesus surrounded by a ragtag band occupying the landscape. Followers gathered at a place of scenic vista, hungry for a new vision. Disciples thirsty for new hope. Followers not unlike those of us gathered here closer to sea level in Boston's Back Bay. Entering a second month in this new year of 2017, an unsettling year that has already brought too much anxiety for too many. We, too, are hungry for a new vision. We are thirsty for new hope. So we turn to that mountainside and listen. You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. These words from Matthew's Gospel follow in succession to last week's litany of beatitude blessings. Blessed are the downtrodden, the poor, those who mourn, those who are meek. And this sermon high up on the mount continues this week as we hear a shift from the third person, blessed are they, to the second person, blessed are you. You are salt, you are light. Jesus gets personal. Perhaps the translation that Kate so wonderfully read this morning from Eugene Peterson's The Message sounded new as it drives clearly that message deeper, speaking not just personally, but vocationally. Let me tell you why you are here. You're here to be salt seasoning that brings out God flavor in this earth. And putting it another way, you're here to be light, bringing out the God colors into the world. God is not a secret to be kept. I love that. Peterson's version makes it clear that we have a vocational purpose as followers of Jesus. We have a specific task to do. We're here to bring out the God flavors and the God colors of this world. Notice we're not called to become light or salt. We already are. We're not striving to one day become the vessels that God wants to use in this world. We already are these sacred chalices. And as such, we are far from passive in our salt and lightness. We're more like verbs than nouns, salters and lighteners. We bring the flavoring, we enhance the world, we bring it more color. Rather, we are enhancing the world. We are coloring the world. Today in worship, we may just experience some more color. We have the gift of an incredible visual artist with us, Julia. And this movement, this bringing of more color, is in celebration of our new art, spirituality, and justice focus as a church, new emergent ministry, and it's fitting that Julia is with us. I met Julia. She's someone who deeply cares about justice as well as art. I met her at a Standing Rock Solidarity gathering, rally, and she has written some children's books as well as some of her art, and her website is in the bulletin if you'd like to see these up close. One of the books she's written is called Swatch, The Girl Who Loved Color. Without any spoilers, this book begins in a place where colors ran wild. There lived a girl who was still wilder. Her name was Swatch, and she was a color tamer. She was small, but she was not afraid. I love this. I'm intrigued, and I hope you are too, to read more. Small, but not afraid. Friends, when the so-called powers of the world loom large, it's so easy to feel small. And I love an artist's clarion call to be like Swatch, small but not afraid and bringing color. Being not afraid to bring more vitality into this world is a high calling, but one we've heard before. We've heard it from the Gospel of John. I've come that they may have life and have it abundantly. It is a central message of the gospel texts. But how do we go about this work of creative, artistic discipleship? In the light of a second full week of overwhelmingly troubling national news at the hands of a bad actor-in-chief, the rejoinder to be salt strikes me in a new way this year. And maybe due to the fact that I've had some recent oral surgery to remove a really bad actor of a troublesome tooth, I recall that salt can sting. Since my surgery, my dentist has instructed me to rinse multiple times a day with salty water, and this swishing stings, literally salt in the wound. It stings, but ultimately sanitizes and helps repair the wound, repair the breach. In bringing God flavor to the world, we, as salt, are not just called to enhance taste, we're called to agitate. Isaiah agitates us this morning. Shout out, do not hold back, lift up your voice like a trumpet, announce to my people their rebellion. Agitate, ye salty trumpets. These verses were, of course, written at a time after the people of Israel were in exile in Babylon. These last chapters of the so-called third Isaiah are filled with visions of hope and urgent warnings. And in this familiar text, the prophetic cry goes out to counter the hypocritically pious who whine about not seeing God after fasting in public. They feel shortchanged. And the voice of a salty God comes forth with clarity. Look, you serve your own interests on your fast day. You oppress your workers. Look, you fast only to quarrel and to fight and to strike with a wicked fist. Such fasting as you do today will not make your voice heard on high. And so the salty prophet also, reminding the people of what true fasting is, responds, "Is this not the fast I choose, says God, to loose the bonds of injustice, to undo the thongs of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry, bring the homeless poor into your house, and when you see the naked, to cover them, and not to hide yourself from your own king?" These challenging words that we hear from Isaiah, we hear on every Ash Wednesday. At the beginning of our Lenten journey, they come to us on a day when many choose to fast or choose to do something different, a spiritual practice that's out of the ordinary, to help remind themselves of a spiritual depth to our world that we often are too busy to notice. A truth that the Spirit is always in the world, calling us to a Lenten practice of repentance, slowing down, being reminded of what God desires, and looking more deeply into one's own life and taking stock. And then repenting, turning around from any lifestyles, mindsets, practices that lead away from this grounding truth. So it's both challenging and refreshing for us to hear about these verses outside of Lent this morning while still in Epiphany, the season of looking for God's inbreaking light in unexpected places. The season where we still have bad actors in our midst. When you stop oppressing others, when you feed the hungry, when you house the homeless, then you'll understand. Then you'll receive an epiphany. You'll get it. Your light shall break forth like the dawn, and your healing shall spring up quickly. For you are the light of the world. You're called to bring out God colors into this world. And by association, you're called to illuminate injustice. You're called to put out, to call out, and put on the salt upon the wounds. Sometimes easier said than done. And I'm grateful that we don't do this work alone, dear friends. This past week, GBIO applied some salt to the wounds. In fact, they helped me see a president that I am proud of. Not one who tweets from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue these days, but one who labors for us at 24 Beacon Street on the other side of our common, in our State House. Mass Senate President Stan Rosenberg. Our Senate President joined with a group of other hard-working legislators from around our Commonwealth to another truly impressive, large action and a gathering of the Greater Boston Interfaith Organization Thursday night at Bethel AME. For such a time as this was the name of the gathering. Rosenberg and fellow Senators Sonia Chang Diaz and William Brownsburg joined with Boston City Councilors Ayanna Presley and Tito Jackson, who wholeheartedly affirmed GBIO's platform regarding criminal justice reform, healthcare, housing justice in our city and Commonwealth. Their affirmations aligned with our deep desires for justice were so refreshing and in such contrast to a lot of the oppressive actions that we've heard from the White House this week. These lawmakers not only affirmed that justice matters, they powerfully reminded us that the voices of faith matter even more these days. They encouraged and challenged us as GBIO not to slack off or back down in our momentum for our city, for our Commonwealth, and for our nation as faithful agitators. It was striking to me to hear so passionately from lawmakers that as a people of faith, we have a needed role to call out unjust laws. And so we return to that mountain slope, where Jesus says, don't suppose for a minute that I've come to demolish the scriptures, either God's laws or the prophets. I'm not here to demolish, but to complete. God's law is more real and lasting than the stars in the sky and the ground at your feet. Long after stars burn out and the earth wears out, God's law will be alive and working. Jesus reminds us when we look at earthly laws that there's something more eternal about that word law. The law and the prophets, as we hear later in Matthew's gospel. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the greatest and the first commandment. And a second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Friends, this is what it's about. It's not a do this and a do that, or don't do that and don't do this. It is about loving God, loving neighbor, welcoming the stranger, feeding the hungry, housing the homeless. Stop being unkind to one another and to oppressing one another. And when necessary, obey God's laws and break earthly laws. We're reminded of Dr. King's words, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. And as we enter Black History Month, we've heard some uninformed references to Frederick Douglass this past week. So it seems important to amplify his prophetic voice this morning as someone who is indeed having done an amazing job and being recognized more and more. Douglass said, to those who profess to favor freedom and yet depreciate agitation are those who want crops without plowing up the ground. He also said the limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those they oppress. And where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and where any one class is made to feel that society is an organized conspiracy to oppress, rob, and degrade them, neither persons nor property will be safe. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. Thank you, Mr. Douglass, for calling us back to the truth, calling us to the ways of endurance and to the demands of justice, and to the heart comfort of courage. I'm grateful for the incredible courage of Federal District Judge James Robart of Seattle, who passed an order to lift the unjust law banning Muslims from our country this past week. And I'm grateful before that for the courage of Sally Yates, who was fired from her job as acting Attorney General for her willingness to be salt and speak truth to power by refusing to defend executive orders to ban Muslims in the first place. Friends, being salt and light is hard, and it will have consequences. But it will also bring light. It will bring more color to our world. Because of Judge Robart and others who are defending this judge and this legal reaction to an unjust law, I'm very grateful to share that my own child's friend Sophie, a fellow 2.5-year-old, and her mom and aunt, dual citizens of the UK and Iran, were able to enter the country last night on a plane, embraced by lawyers and advocates in Logan Airport. And we, of course, pray, friends, for all those who continue to be exiled unnecessarily and unjustly, especially those refugees who need love, who need sanctity, who need sanctuary, and for all those working to break unjust laws so that the law eternal, the law of God, can be recognized. So grateful for the witness of a colleague and friend just down the road at our sister UCC Church, Old South, John Edgerton, Reverend John Edgerton, who was arrested for civil disobedience this past week as he protested in D.C. in support of keeping the Affordable Care Act in place. Healthcare matters. Speaking truth to power matters. Our own BU PhD student Rachel Kirby pointed out to me a powerful fact in a speech by Frederick Douglass that caused me a bit of chill and poise, that ministers and scholars, he says, have a greater call to speak out and to act than others. Not all of us, friends, are called to civil disobedience. Others of us have more calling in that directive. And yet we're all called to do something in these days. We are called, as Kate amplified Eugene Peterson's words of Matthew so well, to shine, to keep an open house, to be generous with our lives, to open up to others, to prompt them to be open to God. We have not to keep that secret to ourselves. And there are many ways to be so open, and I'm so grateful for the ways that many of us have contemplated these things. Some of you have communicated to me this week that you have started or restarted a daily morning prayer practice. As simple as that is, it is transformative and it is part of the healing work our world needs today. Some of you are writing each day positive vignettes or quotes and sharing them with others. Others of you are volunteering more frequently these days. We'll hear from Liz and John today about volunteering at WLP. Some of you are joining monthly Speaking of Faith small groups. Others of you are coming to church retreats, we pray. Others are coming to marches. And in this coming, in this embodying of our faith, it makes a difference. We saw how it felt to be in Copley Square as a diverse and peaceful body last week, coming together, showing up in places, speaking truth to power, and with humility, declaring the law that we see of God in our midst. We will still soon sing the hymn, How Can I Keep From Singing? I'd invite us to pay particular attention to the third verse as we sing that. It was written by Doris Glenn in the 1950s when her friends were imprisoned during the McCarthy era. And our UCC Association just this past week sent an email saying that we may be sadly entering a new McCarthyism around Islamophobia. We were asked as churches and as individuals to reach out specifically to our friends at the Rock Spring Mosque, the ISBCC, and to consider donating to them, to swell their ranks, to become friends of the ISBCC, or to join their winter gala on February 11th, to dance, to sing together as a part of speaking truth to power. I'd invite us as a congregation to consider these things. We've added those to our Following the Star of Justice handout on our website, the details of those things. Friends, acting and being salt and light in these days can be fun. It can be about shining and illuminating things that have long remained on the outskirts. So I'd enjoy and invite us to be creative, to try our hand at art if we have not yet, to sing more loudly, for remembering the words of Isaiah, remembering the call of God. We are called repairers of the breach, restorers of the streets to live in, as salt and as light of those breaching the trust that has been vacant these days across our country, reaching out and pointing the finger less and helping repair these wounds. Friends, may we be the salt that God wants for this world. For indeed, no storm can shake our inmost calm, while to that rock we're clinging. Since love commands both heaven and earth, how can we keep from singing? Amen.